This is a squat mobility routine, perfect for beginners or those just starting to work on their deep squat position. First things first, let's test the squat position. See how it's feeling today. Maybe it's a little bit stiff. We're gonna see if we can make this deep and comfortable in just 10 minutes. We'll begin with a seated glute stretch. Take a seat on the floor, cross one leg over the other, and pull that knee towards the opposite chest. To deepen this position, you can rotate towards that leg that's being stretched, and you should feel this in the outside lateral part of the hip. Throughout this routine, we'll work on the hips, the knees, and the ankles. And these are the main parts that influence how comfortable our deep squat is. Okay, let's switch to the other leg and we'll do another 30 seconds. If you guys are here doing this routine, then you probably don't need much convincing that the deep squat is important. But what you'll see with this routine is that working on the deep squat is essentially working on most of your lower body. And one really cool thing that I've found in my own deep squat journey is that the more you feel comfortable and are able to sit in your deep squat a lot throughout the day, the more it will naturally maintain a lot of your lower body mobility. So the need for stretching becomes a lot less. Go ahead and relax. This next movement is the bear squat. Begin on your knees and place your hands down in front of you in a quadrupedal position. We'll start by rocking the hips forward and then back towards our heels. Keep the bottom of the toes pressed into the ground. This will give you a big stretch through your toes and the bottom of your feet. Notice that the knee and hips are in the same position that we want to get to in our deep squat, but doing it horizontally is a bit easier on the body. Now, if you're feeling good, go ahead and lift your knees off the ground and do the same rock back and forward. This will put more force into the feet and the knees. Now, big toe extension is very important for the health of our Achilles, which attaches into our calves. So if we want that good ankle range of motion in our squat, then it's really beneficial to practice movements like these where we're getting our toes into extension. It's also just a fantastic warm-up for doing any type of squat motion. All right, go ahead and relax. So while we're on the subject of Achilles and calves, we're gonna head into some knees over toes calf raises. So place your hands against a wall and lean into it. And you want those knees out in front of the toes. So right here, I'm showing a bent knee version, but I'm actually gonna use a straight knee version, and you can pick whatever feels good for you. Because our knees and our hips are in front of our toes, every time we touch our heels down, we get a fantastic stretch through the calves. I find that most people underestimate how much the feet, the ankles, and the calves play a role in your deep squat position. Now, of course, we all want to have more range of motion in our ankles, but sometimes it's not even about increasing the range of motion. It's just about becoming stronger and having more control over those joints and muscles that will lead to you being more comfortable when you sit in the deep squat. Fantastic work, y'all. So next, we're moving into horse stance squats. Horse stance is essentially a wide stance squat, so double the width of how you would normally stand. And then we're just gonna slowly sink the hips down, and then we'll stand back up. Think about the knees spreading apart and the hips sinking down as you squat down, and then using your glutes to stand back up. I've found the horse stance to be one of the most functional ways to open up the hips. You'll be working on the hip joints as well as loosening those inner thigh muscles that play a huge role in being able to sit down deep. If you look at the horse stance, it's essentially what an athletic position is in most sports. So I find using this to open the hips and inner thighs to be very functional and have great carryover into other activities. All right, excellent work. One of the things I love about horse stance is you open up your hips in a way that will directly transfer to your deep squat. Now that we've done some great prep movements, we're We're gonna sit into our deep squat, but we're also gonna elevate our heels slightly. If you have some books laying around the house or a small ledge, put your heels on it. Bend the knees and see how that squat is feeling now. The slight heel elevation will make it easier to bend the knees forward and drop the hips in between. Now, what I'm doing here is what I call hip flexor squats. I'm practicing activating my hip flexors to pull my knees up towards my chest. Often we forget that hip flexion, pulling the knees towards the chest, is a big part of the squat. And if we can get our body stronger in this position, then sitting deeper becomes easier and easier. All right, I hope that 1 minute of squat felt good. We're gonna move directly into seated hip rotation. So nice and easy here. Rotate your knees to one side of the body and then rotate to the other. As the hips loosen and the body feels comfortable, start to see if you can touch those knees down to the ground. Now you start to find yourself in this 4 position or 90-90. This position is great for hip mobility because the front side hip gets stretched into external rotation and the backside hip gets stretched into internal rotation. And lastly, we can start to move into a pigeon type variation by bringing the torso and the head down towards the front knee. You'll notice that all kids are really comfortable in these types of positions low to the ground. And if you can get your body there as well, your mobility will flourish. Great work. Next, we have our Fisherman Squat. And this position is great to work on our ankle flexibility. Take a half kneeling, half squat position where one leg is tucked under your hips. Now, all we're gonna do here is just work on shifting that front knee forward. We'll spend around 10 seconds on each leg, and then we'll just rotate to the other side. I like this position because we get to work on ankles and hips at the same time. It's a very functional position. You can sit down on the floor like this. And as you can see, I like to push my torso into my thigh. This puts more weight into that front leg and gets that ankle used to bending forward with my body weight, similar to the squat. All right, excellent work. Go ahead and shake out your legs for a few seconds, and then we're gonna move back into our horse stance. This time, we're going to do some horse stance squats. So take your wide stance position, and then we'll start to drop the hips low and then press the hips back up, just like we would in a normal squat. You should feel your glutes firing to do a lot of this work. Give yourself a quick break from those squats, and now we're gonna move into shifting side to side into horse stance Cossack squats. Think about squatting to one leg while straightening the other. And one of the things we wanna focus on here is trying to stay low in that horse stance as we shift from one side to the next leg. Now you can start to get lower and lower if your body allows it. This will put a deeper stretch through those inner thigh muscles. When the adductor inner thigh muscles are nice and open, sitting into a deep squat becomes so much easier. And I'll just add that it's taken me a long time to get this deep in my Cossack squats, so don't expect to be getting this deep right off the bat. Keep doing this routine and you'll see results. So we've used a lot of potent movements to open up our hips, ankles, and knees. Now it's time to just sit down into that deep squat. And you can still elevate your heels slightly if you need it. You can think about pulling the knees towards the chest, But ultimately, I like to have people focus on their breath. It's time to relax into this position. You've done all the preparatory work. Now it's time to enjoy that depth. I love working on the squat because as a byproduct, you get really mobile hips and ankles. And it only takes around 10 minutes to see awesome progress. If you saw some improvements, comment deep below. And you can come back to this every single day if it feels good for you. Appreciate you guys spending this time with me. I'll see you in the next one, as always.